Write the equation of a line which would pass through this point with that slope. What does that point represent? 5.6.
Yeah.
X-intercept? Y-intercept. Because if the x value is 0, that's your y-intercept. So where's the y-intercept, Carter? It's at 2. You need to remember, y equals mx plus b. You put your slope where m is, you put your y-intercept where b is. So what would be our equation?
Y equals 5 2x plus b.
There you go. That's how quick these tests can be. So if you know these things inside and out, it can be like that. Each line on the graph below passes through points with integer coordinates. Just meaning coordinates that are exact. So like 2, 0. In each case, state the slope and the y-intercept. So let's look at line 1. What is the y-intercept of line 1, which is this one, right here? What's the y-intercept of line 1? Oh, what am I doing? It's -4, yeah? What's the slope of line 1? Josh? What is it?
It's,
What do you use, Michael? 5. Close. It's tough to tell with these types of lines, right? So you have to find exact dots. So you have one exact dot here, 6. And the next exact dot would be here at 3. And you're right, there's another exact dot out here at 6. Any exact dot will work. The next exact dot will be easier. In order to get from this dot to this dot, we have to go over 3 and up 1. So the rise was what?
1.
And the run was 3. So that would be your slope. For your second line, second line, what is the y-intercept Dawson stamp? The second line. So this line. The y-intercept is at 2. Beautiful. And what would be the slope of that line, Liam? So, we found another dot here. So we had to go down 1, 2, 3, and over 2. So what would be the rise? 3. And what would be the run? 2. And you're right. Does it have to be positive or negative? Negative, because we went down. Focuses you. Any questions? Example 3. Determine the equation of the following line. A. The perpendicular line to this equation. And with the same y-intercept as this equation. So we've got a new line that we want to create. We know it's going to go into this form. is the new line's slope going to be, Colton? -3/1. How on earth did he come up with our new m would equal -3/1? Negative reciprocal. So, because he has a perpendicular line to this slope, perpendicular means negative reciprocal. You flip the two numbers and you make them negative. So change the top and the bottom and change the sign. So your slope becomes -3/1. What would be the y-intercept of our new line? 7. Whoever said that, yeah. Because it has the same y-intercept as this line. So what's the equation of our new line? Now, if we wanted to make that an even neater answer, what could we do? Get rid of the 1. Because you don't need to divide if something is by 1. 3 divided by 1 is just 3. They're both right. You get full marks either way. Just kind of looks neater without that fraction, right? All right. The line passing through point 0, 9 and parallel to the line that is joining those two points. Where do we even start? Matthew. Put those points down. I love it. So let's find out the slope of those points, right? Like, what's the equation that we can get from that point? So he's saying, take those, let's make an equation with it. Love it. Y is equal to mx plus b. What's our y-intercept going to be, our b value for that one, Matt? We don't know. We don't know. It doesn't give it to us. So we're going to have to be a little bit more creative and figure it out somehow. Or we can just realize that all we really need to calculate is the slope because it's parallel. We don't need to even worry about drawing a line. All we need to really look for is the slope. There's 2 ways we can figure out slope. It's equal to rise over run. If we have a beautiful picture, but we don't. What's the second way if we don't have a beautiful picture, Josh?
You take the 0, subtract 6.
What's the equation?
No.
You're right. You take the y values and subtract each other, and you take the x values and you subtract them. Which is exactly what you were describing. I just wanted to see the formula. These are 2 different ways of doing slope, right? The 2 ways we learned. So to figure out the slope, we need to go y2 minus y1. 0 minus -6. And divide it by x2 minus x1. -5 minus 2. And your beautiful answer should be 6 divided by -7. These lines are parallel, so what does that mean? What do parallel lines have in common, Ella? Exact same slope. So that will be the slope of our new line. It would be the slope of that line, but it would also be the slope of the line that we're hunting for. Because they have the same slope because they're parallel. Cool. Yeah, and the y-intercept, they gave it to you because it says there the line we're looking for passes through 0, 9, which is just happens to be the y-intercept. So if we want to write out a line in y equals mx plus b, I can use it like 6. So it would be y is equal to -6/7 x plus
Thank you.
if you were looking around the room, you'll see that we have a lot of numbers that are pretty low. So that means there's got to be some questions. Which means you're all probably sharing the same questions, but I can't answer them if you don't ask them. Joe? Yes, that's the easiest question you can ask. What's another question? Where did we lose you? What part's confusing you? Because I'm not here later. Forrest.
This question is either to y before. So for that question,
I'll give you your practice book. So if you have a perpendicular line and it's equal to 4x plus 2, what would be the slope of your line if it's perpendicular? Negative reciprocal. So the 4 would go underneath, a 1 would come on top, and they become negative. So perpendicular lines, I'm going to erase all this. No one's writing still? Okay. Perpendicular lines. Perpendicular lines. If your slope of line 1, so slope 1, is equal to, let's say, 5 over 2. The slope of a line that's perpendicular to it is the negative reciprocal. That means reciprocal means you flip the bottoms and the tops. So this 2 goes on top. That 5 goes on the bottom. But it's the negative reciprocal, so the negative means you add a negative.
but I think it's not right.
That's a good question. So, what if it was just 3? What would be the negative reciprocal of 3, Taylor? Yeah. Pretend there's a 1 underneath. 3 divided by 1 is just 3. So just add in that 1 for yourself, if that helps. What's the reciprocal of 3 over 1? 1 over 3. And you want to make it a negative. That make sense? Good question. Kendall. Yeah. You can go to the washroom when Joe's back. Any other questions?